Alright, so welcome back. Today we are continuing the Breath of Maharlika series where we're going to be building out a full home page for a health and wellness business, and today what we're going to be going over specifically are navigating elements and viewports inside of Elementor. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to rock into the navigation panel in WordPress and drop down to pages. That way we can access all of the pages available on the site that are outside of your blog posts. Once we get there, we're going to go ahead and click on Add Page. Now, what's going to pop up before your Elementor view is the Gutenberg view of WordPress. Now, in this area, what we're going to want to do is to add a title and publish the page. That way we create an instance of this page that we're working on with the title that we need, and then we're going to go ahead and edit with Elementor. So this is going to be home template, and we're going to go ahead and publish this. Go ahead and publish. And then we are going to click into the button that says Edit with Elementor to bring up the drag and drop editing platform that's on top of WordPress that we installed in the last video called Elementor. Do you want to leave? Everything's saved? Yes. Cool. So this is going to bring up the Elementor view panel. It's going to automatically pull in our header and footer, which we're going to be developing in a later video, but they're already there now. And the first couple of things that we notice is that there's this big arch-like shape that is surrounding our work environment, and so I want to touch real quickly on what these areas are. On the far right hand side, we have this section structure navigation panel. What this panel allows us to do is to click into any of the sections that are available on the screen so that we have an easy way to navigate the screen without having to scroll all the way up and all the way down. We can name our sections, we can then click into them easily and see them at a glance. On the left hand side, we have the Edit Elements bar. Now, inside of the sections that we set up on the page, the breakdown, or the way that the language around this breaks down, is you have each section, and so there's going to be section 1, section 2, section 3, and inside of each of those sections we have what we call columns or containers. Now, inside of these containers you can have as many columns as you'd like, but that's what splits up the sections as they go across the page in a horizontal way. And so we have sections, we have the columns inside them, and then we have the elements that are nested within those. So on the left hand of the screen, when we see this element editor, what this allows us to do is edit all of those elements from any place. So I'm going to go ahead and start just randomly building. I'm going to build in a hero section, and what's going to happen here is I just added a container, and we automatically see that container pop up on the right hand side in the structure navigation panel. And so we're able to make changes as needed. One of the things we're going to do is to change the height, and then I should also touch on this. On the left hand side in the Elements editor, you'll always see 3 different tabs at the top of this editor. It's going to be for Layout, Style, and Advanced. Now, under Advanced, you're able to change everything you need with your margins, with your padding, any kind of custom CSS, as well as responsive editing plays like hide on desktop, hide on tablet and portrait, or hide on mobile. If you have a specific section that isn't showing up or presenting itself correctly, either on desktop or mobile, you can duplicate it so that the one that you have made perfectly for desktop, you can curate for mobile, or vice versa if necessary. And then under Style, this is where you can change anything that has to do with the background, your background overlay, the border of this container, as well as the shape divider within it. And then anything that has to do with layout can change the overall width, the minimum height, the direction that your layout or your elements are pointing towards. You can justify content either horizontally or vertically, and then a couple more things in here. So we're going to go ahead and create a hero section by adding a background slideshow to this container. And let's say these pictures really represent the brand. So we're going to go ahead and insert this into this area here. And we're going to give it an effect. Okay, cool. One of the really cool things about this is that from here, we notice that our page is starting to get built out. We have full control over the container, and even though there isn't anything inside the container yet, it's already like operating the way that we would want. So let's go ahead and drag in another element, and what we're going to drag in is a header. And so we're going to go breadth of Harlika. And we can notice that it's showing up at the very top part of this container. So what we're going to want to do is change the settings on the container under layout so that everything that happens on a horizontal play is done at the center. And then once we click this, we'll notice that this heading now came in or dropped down to the very middle of this container. If we wanted to change the color of this text, we would just click on the element for text, navigate over to the style tab, and at the bottom where it says text color, we can then click it and check on it there. And if we want to center the text, we can also do so here. So just building this out a bit more, if we wanted to bring in a slogan such as a ceremonial, if I can type, ceremonial breathwork experience, and then to give this some text color, and we can see it show up right over here. It's very small, and so what we're going to do is we're going to click into the typography area, and we're going to change the font to around 22 points, and we're going to center this. And I'm noticing that there's a little bit of a lack of contrast between the background and the foreground text. So I'm going to again go into our container, and inside of the style tab, I could then change the background overlay to give it a little bit of color. And what we're going to do is in the same primary green, we're going to add a bit of darkness to it, and then we're going to make it transparent. And that's going to add just a hint of some better contrast for this hero section. Cool, so we've gone over the structure area on the right hand side, which now has our container and the two text boxes inside of it, and we can easily see more or go ahead and see less on a click of a button for the arrows next to them. We can also click on the arrows at the top, and this will expand or unexpand everything. And so on the left-hand side, I don't know if that's the right word for that. On the left-hand side, we have the element editor, where at the top, you'll always find these three tabs for the content or the layout, your style, and then anything advanced that you need to do. So we're going to pull in one more element, and then I'm going to show you what this looks like on different viewports and how to change those settings. So what we're going to bring in now is a CTA button, and we're just going to pull it in over here. Notice that automatically some of the global settings that I've set for the website are being brought in or are being inherited from those settings into this button. So we're going to go ahead and click it, and I would like to change the typography to bold. So we're going to change the weight to about 700. And then we're going to change the content to learn more about somatic therapy. And then in style, I'm going to center this. Cool. Now, I want this to show up a little bit further down on the page. So I'm going to give this some top padding of maybe 75 pixels. And I think that looks good. That's good enough. So this is what we're working with already in terms of just building out with Elementor in a couple of minutes. It's just a hero section, very basic, but we can see the usability of this system, why it's so effective at a glance, and just how much customization and ability that we have to customize with the editing navigator on the left. So the last thing that I want to touch on in this video is the top bar. This top bar, what it does is it allows us in a glance to preview any changes that we've made on this page so that we can see a live version of it, as well as some other options that are more or less for advanced users. But the main areas that I want to touch on in this top bar are going to be under settings and the viewports. So first things first is the viewports. So what's cool about Elementor is everything is inherited in terms of the viewports from the desktop version. So I always recommend that we start developing in the desktop view and then allow those changes to be inherited down to tablet as well as mobile or mobile portrait. And so I'm going to show you just real quick. If you click into this button here, we can now see what the website looks like with those same changes we made, with those same additions on a tablet, and then as well as on a mobile phone. And so within a few minutes, you can curate these different viewports. If you make changes on tablet, it will not affect anything that you've done on your desktop versions, and then it will be inherited towards what's going on for your tablet views. And the way that you can ensure this is you can click into any of your elements, and what you'll notice is that if you hover over the settings or the icon next to these settings, these are specifically for tablet, and so we can see that the 75 top padding, or the 75 pixel top padding that we entered on desktop has now been inherited by the tablet and by the mobile portrait viewing with the 75 pixels here. If we wanted to change that, we can easily do, and then if we navigated back to the desktop view, we notice that those settings did not get inherited by the larger viewport. So this is an easy way for anyone to navigate the system. Those would be the three main areas that I would say are required for someone to understand before they start building in Elementor. And now that you fully understand them, there's a lot to learn, so if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment or reach out. But if you do enjoy learning how to build websites for health and wellness companies or businesses, as well as some information on funnel hacking, funnel optimization, and creating a digital presence that builds your brand online and speaks for you in a very high level way, then go ahead and hit that button to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.